Hello friends, I'm out here in the craft cottage creating away. I'm making some beautiful spring tiered tray decor. Let's get started.
The items we're going to be using in this DIY, this little faux wooden egg, it's wood, but it's like MDF, came from Dollar Tree. We're going to use some white paint and some antique wax from Waverly. And we're going to use that little bunny rabbit that came from Dollar Tree also. I'm just going to paint this. I'm not going to get the paint in those little cracks so that it still looks like wood shiplap-ish. And then I'm going to take the antique wax and I'm going to dry brush it, starting from the outer edges and pulling it in toward the center, all around the edges. I think this makes it look like a nice wood look. We're just making faux wood. And then I'm going to do across the back too, because these are tiered tray decor pieces, and sometimes my tier trays you can see them from both sides. This is those little wooden dice you used to be able to get from Dollar Tree. You could use any kind of little chunk of wood that would work, and I'm just going to put some wax on it as well. I'm going to grab my Apothecary labels by DIY. You could use any kind of stamps for this. You could hand write it. Any stickers, you could use stickers from Dollar Tree, but I have these stamps, so I'm going to use them. I'm going to spell out the word spring. So I'm going to put the stamps where I want them, how I want them. I'm going to put them on there in position and get them all lined up how I want them. I'm going to use some little tweezers to fine tune. And then I'm just going to take that little plastic sheet and press down on the sticky side of the stamps. I'm going to stamp it up with some black IOD ink, and then I'm going to just press it down firmly. Don't move it. And there you go. That's how it looks. Then clean up my stamps because we got to take care of them. I did not get on camera, but I made a little chiffon bow, a twine bow, and then I glued that little bunny rabbit on there. And then I glued the wood chunk on the back so that it stands up.
Have you ever wanted to try IOD products, but they're just a little bit out of your budget? Well, I have good news for you. It's good news and it's bad news. It's bittersweet. Our friend Sammy over at Unicorn Dust Designs has decided that it's best for her to liquidate her IOD products, and she's not going to sell IOD anymore. She is still going to sell the wonderful DIY paints, just not the IOD products. So starting on Wednesday morning, she is going to start having her IOD products on sale. All the IOD products. So you're going to want to hop on her website first thing on Wednesday and grab you some IOD products for 20% off. Yes, 20% off. So go over there and grab you some products, and then you can start creating with some IOD. Let's get back to crafting.
I love to pick up these types of craft items when they have them at Dollar Tree, and I love the carrots and the rabbits and the eggs. And so I'm going to use the egg today, and these are those little tumbling tower game pieces, and these happen to already be brown. Yay, I don't have to paint them. Now I'm going to use this TDS Creative stencil from Brandy's website. She's linked in the description box. Go ahead and check her out. And the paints that you see there, I'm going to use an orange and a green and just paint the carrot. I'm going to use the Waverly wax in the color Antique and get it all over my fingers while I'm opening the lid. And then I'm going to do the dry brush just like I did on the previous project. I want to make it, look kind of like those lines in the carrot. Give it a little dimension. Then I'm just going to rub a little bit on the back as well. And then I'm going to put a little bit on top with the stems, the greenery, and then just boop, boop, boopity, boop, 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 right there. So you'll see how that turns out. It looks good. And then we are going to dry it up so that it's nice and dry. And then I'm going to use Sandy Blonde and some white and mix them together till I get the color that I want. Doesn't have to be that color, but that's the color I chose. And then I'm going to use Brandy's stencil, and I'm going to use that piece. Now, I see her cut her stencils up all the time, so she is not going to be upset that I did this. I'm going to tape it down on top of this carrot because we're going to make this carrot look a little bougie for our tier tray. I'm just going to use a little sponge dauber and get a lot of the paint off and just dab down. I'm also going to hold the stencil down because it's not one of those sticky stencils and it will lift up on you. So less paint is better, but you know, hold it down, and then we're going to get some of that annoying paint off my fingers because I don't like my hands to be messy. And then we are going to just peel up that. Look how beautiful that looks. And then always clean up our stencils so that they stay nice. Now I'm going to use this green, this little one right here, the leaves, for the green. I taped off what I didn't want to use. I'm going to use Monet's Garden. It's a darker green. You can use any color paint you want. I'm just telling you what colors I used. These are that's a DIY paint. I'm going to just hold it down the best I can. It turns out good. And same thing, I'm loading up my brush. My Monet's Garden is really thick, which works really good for stenciling. So if you have some paint that's kind of old and really thick, that's the kind of paint you want to stencil with. Put some on your brush, offload some of it, and then stencil with it. That works really good. I'm going to put 3 on here. I believe I did 3. I did one there, one straight up, and then one on the other side. Drying completely in between so that when I lay that stencil back down, it doesn't, you know, smear my paint. I'm going to dry that one down really good. So, and then I'm wiping the back of that stencil as well so that I don't get any paint that I don't want all over my project. Then I decided I needed one more of those little drops down underneath. So I'm taping off where I don't want the paint to get. I'm only going to do that little kind of, it's not really a teardrop, but that little drop part at the bottom. And just adding just a tiny little bit more there. And you'll see, I think that just completed it. So cute. Now we're just going to put some clear wax on it to seal up all of our work. And it also deepens the colors. I think it makes it look so pretty. And that's going to seal and protect our project. I can't even talk. Let me find my words here. Going to do the back. I'm going to leave that part right there unwaxed because the glue does not really want to work well with the wax. It just wants to peel off. So we're going to be careful. Now I'm just going to take what dark wax was left in my brush from the last time I used it and just give it a tiny little bit of dark wax around the edges. I'm going to use some Bond Quick and Thick, with a little bit of hot glue. Don't think that it was necessary to use both of them in this instance, but I did. And I'm going to clamp it together, wipe off the excess glue, and let it dry. While it's drying, I'm going to grab some raffia and tie a little knot and then in the middle, and then I made a little raffia bow, and I'm going to stick that little raffia bow right there in the middle of my, don't know why I'm taking so long to do that, but yeah, this is how it turned out. Let me know what you think about my bougie carrot. All right, let's make a rabbit. This little rabbit was in one of those packs that had several in there that I got at Dollar Tree. And I'm going to paint it a light gray, and I'm going to use one of those tumbling tower blocks. Here's the color that it is. I painted both sides, and I'm going to use a mint chip by DIY. This is just happens to be the color that I'm going to use, and I'm going to use Brandy's stencil again. I'm just going to pick some of these designs that I want to, and I'm just going to start stenciling all over this pretty little bunny. I'm just going to tape off where I don't want the design on to go on there. I could have just had the design go off the bunny. I do that in a couple places, but I really specifically just wanted this design to be on her backside. So you'll see that I'm just going to tape it off, and then it does kind of help it stay in place while I'm stenciling, because the open spaces kind of help it stay in place a little bit. But I do still kind of press down around the edges while I'm stenciling, and then trying to offload as much paint as I can off my sponge, and then just dab, dab, dab. I did have a little bit of bleeding, but it's fine. It'll work out fine. And then I just have to dry it down in between each layer, or each application. But it's okay, because with stenciling, your paint is typically not real thick anyway. I'm just going to continue around the bunny until I get as many designs and as much of it covered as I want. I did get a little bit sponge happy and got some gray, some mint chip on the gray. So I just took my gray and touched it up, and you couldn't even tell. So I'm just moving this same little stencil around and using the same designs all over our pretty little bunny. She's going to be so cute. You just wait. She's adorable. So the theme in this is bunnies and carrots and mint chip paint, mint paint. So we're going to dry it down, and then and dry brushing. Dry brushing is kind of a theme in this too. We're going to take some white paint and a chippy brush, and I'm going to dry brush this little block of wood for whatever reason. I just decided I was going to make it not so brown. And then I'm going to dry brush, not too heavy, but really dry brush a little bit of this white over the bunny. And it really softens all the harsh lines of the stencil. I'm going to take some clear wax and clear wax our beautiful little bunny. And it just makes her so, so pretty. We are going to put a little bow on the top of her head. I believe we use that little bow that you see laying there on the top. I'm going to just put the little block on there so she can sit up on her own. I'm going to put this, I just used hot glue, but I'm going to put that clamp on there to keep it really tight while it dries. And then we know it dries fast, but I just want it to soak into the wood good. And she is finished. This little picture frame was sitting in Dollar Tree screaming my name. I thought it was going to be so easy to just come home and put a coat of paint on it, but...
Okay, I'm outside. I could not get this paint to adhere good. These are wooden, but down in here, it's more like, I don't know, it's like, I thought it was bamboo, but I tried to sand it, and it's more like paper. It's like that paper frames that you get at Dollar Tree. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this chalk paint by Rust-Oleum. It's Serenity Blue, so it's kind of close to the green, but then I'm gonna go back in with the green and paint it. So this spray paint is gonna give it like a primer. We're gonna prime it with this spray paint. So I'm just gonna, you could do it with white or any color to prime it, so we can get down in there and get that, pardon the airplane going overhead, but we're gonna get that primed so we can.
Okay, it worked out beautifully, and I really love this color. However, that is not the color we're using this week in this video. We are using mint chip. So I'm going to take this mint chip, and I'm going to take a brush, and I'm going to paint it, and it's working beautifully. It worked perfectly after I primed it. So just FYI, if you buy this paint, if you buy this frame from Dollar Tree, please prime it first. Use some spray paint, do something to prime it. Whatever your method of priming is. Now I used some white paint. You can see me using my chippy brush and going all around it. I don't know if I should have just used white wax to begin with. I don't know if I really would have gotten the look that I wanted, but I love how it turns out in the end. But it was really kind of bright when I finished. I did take it outside, give it a coat of spray sealer. Now let's work on what we're going to put inside the frame. I cut out this little bunny. I used a combination of those two rabbits you see over on the left to make myself this little template. Words are hard today for some reason. And we're going to trace it on this little page out of a hymnal. You can print things off the internet for free. Don't use copyrighted stuff, my friends, but if you can find free printables, if you don't happen to have an old piece of sheet music, I said. I just mixed up a little bit of paint white with a little bit of gray in it so that it would show up good on here. I mixed a little bit of water in it, so I'm not really watercoloring per se, but you'll see in the end it doesn't really even look like watercolor, but you can still see. I wanted to still be able to see the music through it. Then I added a little more gray to it to outline it, and I love that look. Then I dried it down with my heat gun, and then right inside the ears I almost dry brushed. It was like almost dry brushing, but I put, because my petticoat pink is super thick. My paints are getting super thick. I need to use them up more on some larger projects. But I put that pink inside the ears. And then we're just going to use Old School to make some eyes. This is just a dark bluish gray. I'm going to use the end of a paintbrush to make some eyeballs. And I'm just trying to get them straight so he's not looking wonky-eyed. And then they were too round. They were just too round. So I'm going to take a small paintbrush and just pull that paint down and elongate them a little bit. See, just elongate them a little bit. Okay, then I was kind of happy with that. Then I'm going to take that same pink and just make like a little sort of triangle, and the Old School with a little bit of gray in it. I didn't want it as dark to make like a little mouth and some whiskers that are a little bit cat-ish. I don't know. It works. Okay. Then I'm going to make a small little dot in the eyes with some white, and he looks cute. I'm going to give it some time to just go ahead and dry on its own while we do something else, and then come back to it with this stencil. Now, I believe I got this stencil on Amazon, either Amazon or Temu. I can't remember, but I thought a little butterfly by his ear would be cute. So I'm just using a yellowish, goldish color. I'm pretty sure this is Queen Bee by DIY. I'm just going to make a little butterfly. Now, when this gets all dry, I decide I'm going to take my fine line Sharpie marker and outline it. Very simple outline. Just going on the outside of my paint very carefully. And this, to me, just really made it look much better because it just defined the edges where the paint stops and the music sheet starts. Then I went ahead and made like a body for the butterfly. Just colored it in. Now let's put it all in the frame. Put all the guts back in the frame. Put our little bunny in the frame, and making sure that everything's straight and we're going to not have it upside down. But I felt like the frame was really too bright. So I went and got the white wax and a tiny little kind of chippy brush, a brush I used for a tiny chippy brush, and got it down in all those little crevices and then kind of whacked it back. And I really, really, really liked how that turned out. So like I said, I don't know if I would have used the white wax to begin with. I don't really know that I would have gotten this same look because I really like that whitewash look. And I didn't really do the white wax all over. I just really put it down in those crevices, and where it got. So I really like it. Gave it 2 thumbs up. This is probably one of the most simple DIYs I've ever done. So we're just going to take that mint chip. I'm going to get my paintbrush out of the plastic bag that I kept it in for this whole weekend of projects, and paint that little. This is a larger tumbling tower block. I believe I got these at Five Below. And then I'm going to paint it, and then I'm just going to whitewash it I'm going to dry brush it, whitewash look with a fan brush and some white paint. I'm going to dry it up, and I'm going to wax all but one side of it with some clear wax. The side that I did not wax is going to get some Titebond Quick and Thick, and I'm going to smooth it out. I don't want a bunch of glue oozing everywhere, and I will use that glue later. And these three little bunnies came in a pack from Walmart. No, they did not come from Walmart, friends. From Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree. I'm going to line them up on this little ledge like they're just sitting together, and that's going to be it. I really tried to put some greenery behind them. I had some little lavender looking flowers, but I just really liked them just like this. This little DIY is so fun and so cute. It's been done a million times, but I haven't done it. So here we go. I have this box of beads. This is just I've collected. And so I got out all the sizes that I needed to do this project, starting with a large one down to a tiny one. We're going to make some carrots. I sprayed some water in this bag to just moisten the beads just a little bit. And then I'm going to put just a little dab of paint in there. I'm going to take this popsicle stick, and I'm going to just take a little bit of paint, and I'm just going to dab it on there, just wiggle it around. And then I'm going to just smush it. Roll them around and smush them up in there. And if you're looking for more of a full coverage painted look, then put them on a skewer or however you paint your beads and do that. Now I'm going to put them in this lid. This is just a random lid I have in my stash because I don't throw anything away. And I'm going to roll them around while I dry them up. Now that they're all dry, I'm going to take some twine. I considered that mint colored twine because that's our color, but I thought the green looked more like it belonged with the carrots. I'm going to put a little bit of that Titebond Quick and Thick out on my silicone mat. I'm going to put a little bit on this end of this green twine. I'm pretty sure this green twine came from the garden section at Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to start with the largest one, and I'm just going to work my way down to the smallest one. Then I'm going to tie a knot in the end so that that one doesn't roll off. I'm going to put a dab of glue on the bead so that and then put it on the knot. Stick it down on the knot so that, it's going to stay. And then I'm going to cut the excess off right there. I'm going to put a little glue on there so it doesn't ravel and come undone. Clean my hands off because that sticky drives me nuts. There's our little carrot. It's so cute. I'm not sure why I did that, but there we go. Now we're going to make a tassel, and I'm seeing how long I want it. And my 4 fingers is going to be about right. I'm going to wrap this about 15 times. I'm going to test it to see how thick I want it. That's not quite enough. I'm going to wrap it a few more times. I ended up doing about 15 times, and then I'm going to cut it. I have a video linked in the description box below how I make tassels and finger bows. If you want to watch that, it's a very quick thing to watch. I'm going to just watch how I do this. Now, I've struggled with this first one for some reason, just to make a knot, just to loop this and knot it. I don't know why I was all thumbs, but just knot it. Just wrap it in there and tie it in a knot. Just do it twice, tie it in a knot. I think those other little strings hanging down were confusing me, like what am I supposed to be grabbing? But anyway, yeah, I finally got the hang of it and was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So yeah, I did that. And then Ta-da! I cut another strip or length of this twine and just wrapped it around the base of that. You're going to see what I do here. I did, like, what am I doing? What am I doing? What are you doing, Kendra? Okay, then I decide, there, let's get those out of the way so I'm not confused. So let's tie this in a little knot right here. I'd left this kind of slow. I don't know why. Like you couldn't figure this out. Maybe because I was being so slow. I'm putting some glue in there just so that it doesn't go anywhere. I'm going to snip that off right there. And then I'm going to put a little glue so it doesn't unravel. And then I'm going to just start wrapping this twine around that base. And every once in a while, I'm going to reach over and dab the glue and put a little glue so that it sticks to the twine, will kind of like stick to itself and the glue. And then we're just going to work our way up just a little ways. I just did it until I thought it looked good. Then I'm going to kind of put that in there to kind of create a little safe place. Put a little dot of hot glue in there and wrap it tight. Maybe another little piece of hot glue. I don't know. No, just once. No, maybe twice. Okay, what are we doing here? This is what we're doing. Okay, then we're going to snip off that little excess piece. We're going to cut those top loops. I pull that, put the scissors in there and pull it straight up. And then we're just going to cut it to the length that it looks good. And then kind of pull them apart, twist them around, and look how cute. Okay, I'm going to take my dark wax brush. It doesn't have a lot of dark wax in it. It's just the leftovers. I'm going to put it on the green and the beads. And just like that, I have 3 made. I just thought I wanted to tie them all together with a piece of twine. My mom and I saw some extra large ones like this at TJ Maxx, and I just knew I wanted to make a little bunch of them for my tier tray. Instead, I got some of the pieces from the, the hula skirts that you find in the summer at Dollar Tree, and I cut off some of those pieces because sometimes I like that look a little bit better than the raffia. So this is how it turned out. We're going to use one of these little peep pots for this project, some Mod Podge and some decoupage paper. This is actually rice paper. I'm not sure where I got this. It might have even actually been given to me by a friend. But I'm going to take, I squirted some water out on my mat and a paintbrush. We're going to use the water and tear method. And just put some water where you want to tear it. And it just tears so easily. And just tear it very gently so you don't tear it into your image because the water does, soak and run. And then I'm going to do that to all 4 of these little images until I have 4 little rabbits laying on the table. We're going to decoupage them onto our little peep pot. And I'm not going to paint the pot. We're just going to leave it natural. Then I'm going to spritz them down like my friend Brandy says, give it a little spritzy spritz. And then I'm just going to put some Mod Podge on the pot, a generous amount, and then just put some over the top. And I'm going to put these all the way around the peep pot. And I put some Mod Podge on top of it, the rabbit, after I get her on there. These little rabbits are so cute. I want to say these came from Decoupage Central. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that's where they came from. So we're going to put all 4 of these little rabbits on there. And when they dry, you can see the white paper around them, but it's okay. They blend in and they really, really look cute. And then we're going to put some floral foam, just some tiny little pieces of floral foam down in here. You can do this however you want to. You could just stick the greenery in there. But, oh no, first we're going to put some twine around the top. Let's put some twine around the top. So I used some Tite Bond Quick and Thick. And then, oh, this was so messy on my hands, y'all. This was making me crazy. But I endured it because I knew it would be so cute. You know, if you know anything by now, you know I don't like my hands to be messy. But I did it. I did it, and then I went and washed my hands, and all was well. It was fine. I was fine. I survived. I did not die because my hands got messy. But anyway, this turned out cute. I just put that twine right around the top, and I love the way it looks. Snip it off, put a little extra glue right there, and just smush it in there. And now we're going to put some floral foam down in there. And I just cut a couple little pieces and made them fit. And then I had this greenery in my stash. I think this came from Dollar Tree a while back. My Dollar Tree has maybe 3 stems of florals and no greenery anymore. It's pathetic. But I've had these in my stash for a long time. And so I just put a few little pieces of greenery in there. I'm going to take some messy moss and poke it in there to kind of fill in so you don't see that floral foam. And then I had these little carrot picks that I got at Hobby Lobby on clearance like maybe 2 years ago. And I just think they're so cute. They're so tiny, but they were a little bit orange. So I sanded them a little bit, and then I used some dark wax and I used some white wax. I just went back and forth with the white and the dark until I got the look that I wanted. I cut the skewers down on and then it was messy. I couldn't handle all of that messy moss on there. I had to vacuum it up. And then I just cut the sticks, the skewers. They're on little like skewer toothpick looking things. And I just cut them down to the lengths that I wanted and poked them in there. And it's so cute. So cute. Let me know what you think about this one.
Thank you, friends, for watching this video. I hope that you are inspired to make some spring decors for your tier tray or just to sit around your home to brighten it up for spring. Spring is coming. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. Just drop an emoji. Let me know which one was your favorite. I love to know that you were here. But most of all, I want you to remember to be still and know that He is God.